Assalamualaikum, very good morning. Okay, hopefully, can I get your cooperation? Okay, since most of you are not going to open your video cam, your camera, I would prefer that you on your microphone. Okay, so because you're using most probably you're using your laptop or your handphone, so switch on your mic to actually reply to me. Because this is the reason why I do not like to do synchronized class. Because when I ask for response, I do not it's not compulsory to open the video cam, but at least you need to reply via your microphone. Reason why, it's like what during this pandemic, we do not like lecturer doing asynchronous class, but lecturer also do not like this synchronized class via means that 2 hours talking. Because why? It's like we are talking to, sebenarnya kalau bahasa Melayu cakap dengan tunggu kayu. Because there is no response. So I would expect from a new student to have at least a response through your microphone. Okay, you can see like MIT, Harvard, how they have the online class. So they actually respond, they on their camera and so on. But for UTM student, okay, I'm just looking at the name and I ask student to change their profile. Tukar pun, you didn't change your profile photo. So this is what discourage lecturer to actually do online class, because student don't put effort to have the online class. Okay, means that to have a two-way communication. Boleh dengar tak ni ke tak boleh dengar ke? I'm not sure. I'm just talking to myself because there's no response. Hello? Itulah masalah dia. Bila saya cakap dah bebel kan. Lepas tu tak tahu senyap ke ada ke ni. Tidur ke, on aja ke tidur kan, because it's 8 AM kan. So this is a real problem lah when doing synchronous class. So I hate doing synchronous class because of this. Because lecturer is giving 2 hours lecturing. Well, we are doing lecturing and you expect that we are giving the lecture. But the thing is, you on your laptop, join WebEx, and then you go to sleep. The reason why most lecturers are doing a synchronous class, because the synchronous class needs student participation, means that they need to give feedback regarding the class, means that they go through what are the instructions in ULearn, they need to give feedback, because this is what you need to do. Okay, remember during week 1, okay, you have the LO, right? LO for each week, or for the subject, you have 3 LO, LO1, LO2, LO3. So you need to actually achieve that LO. So what the lecturer or myself, we are doing is actually to let you achieve your learning outcome quickly. Okay. So understood that. So participant is only 20. I'm waiting until 30. Then I will only start class. Okay. And I would like to be clear. If I were to do synchronous class face to face with you guys, normally I will give only 5 minutes late to class. After that, I will lock the door. This is how I'm very strict about synchronous class, face to face class. Means that face to face, you're going to be locked out from the class. Okay, means that if you're late, you are not actually following the regulation of my class. Okay, so why late is not actually acceptable, because when you are late, you're only halfway understood about the lecture. And half the first part of the lecture, you do not understand. So why waste your time coming to class? So that's my reason. Okay. So Even for a synchronous class like this, for synchronized online class, I'm going to be very strict in terms of attendance, because I would say that if you are not going to follow the attendance of class, means that if you have class at 8, you don't come at 8, how are you going to commit later on when you go for industrial training at the industry, in third year, because you're going to work at a company, attached to a company in, for example, production, or as a following the engineer and so on, and they start their work at 8 to 5, or even sometimes Saturday, Sunday they are working. So you need to follow that rules of the company. So same thing. If these 4 years you do not learn or practice to actually follow the attendance or the timetable given to you, what happened to most of the students later on when they go for LI is that the attendance is bad. Okay, and even when they start working, they feel that, oh, working is not like what I expected. You expect what? Working, you get money, and then you work a flexible hour, you come at 10 a.m, go back at 4. Do you think that's working about? That is what working about? No. Working is more tiresome than studying, I tell you. Even you have lots of homework, working is much more worse than that. Okay, because you're going to take lots of documentation every day at 5 p.m. You're going to take back documentation, go back home and continue doing work at home. Even Saturday, Sunday, I'm working, doing tasks related to the university, checking student report, okay, marking student, going through student feedback form. Okay, so let me be clear about the attendance. 8 a.m. now is already 8, 10, 11, but it's only 26 participants out of 35. So I don't know. Most of the time, if it's like this attendance, I will just, okay, cancel class. Okay, so this is why I don't like synchronous class, because last semester, when I was teaching signal and system, okay, I did synchronous class the first week of PKP, or second week of PKP. And what happens that I have about 40 students. The attendance was only 10. 10, really bad. I don't expect myself to waste my time on 10 students only if the other 30 students do not want to participate on synchronous class. So might as well I do synchronous class so that I do not waste time on the face-to-face. Okay, so let me be clear on that, because I saw that some commented on Dr. Fahmi, PM Dr. Fahmi, Yulet, about him not doing the face-to-face class, synchronous class. But I understood his reason, because he's the dean, and I'm also actually holding a position at the Pejabat TNCA. I'm a deputy dean, deputy director for the academic excellence. So I'm managing or moderating lots of webinar online. Like this week, I have 2 webinars on Thursday and Friday, and hence that's why we have class this morning. Okay, because Thursday I cannot do class. Most of the time, Thursday class I cannot do face-to-face class. Okay, so if you wish to have face-to-face class, then it will be Monday morning like this. Okay, I cannot opt for Thursday class because I have to moderate for webinar for the staff academic. Okay, it's under TNCA department, so I'm under that department right now. Okay, dipinjamkan keluar for 2 years. Alright, so participation 29, one more, then I will start. Okay, so if you see, if you look at the participant list, you can look at participant list. Okay, look at who's not in. Contact him to join, because I will only start at 30 student minimum. Okay, I give 5 minutes to contact your friend. At least I want one more student in. Okay, still waiting, but not sure why. Okay, not anyway. Attendance. Okay, when I call out your name, please on your mic for attendance. In the chat, I won't look at the chat. Okay, on your mic for attendance. Asfar, Asfar, I will call out 2 times only. Asfar, no. Dalini,
Yes, madam.
Dalini. Okay,
Yes, madam.
Gogul Mitiran. No. Hamizan,
Yes, doctor.
right? Haziq Imran,
Yes, doctor.
Haziq Imran.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, Iman Hambali. No, Kati Resan.
Yes, doctor.
Right. Khairul Fahmi. Khairul Fahmi.
Saya tu.
Right. Koh Zu Chuan. Koh Zu Chuan. Tak ada. Lau Hin Ki. Lau Hin
Yes,
Ki.
doctor.
Right. Liu Junwei. Liu Junwei. Tak ada. Lutfi Hadi. Lutfi Hadi.
Yes, doctor.
Ada. Madihah. Madihah.
Yes, doctor.
Right. Muhammad Azam Anas. Muhammad Azam Anas. Tak ada. Muhammad Luqman Hakim. Muhammad Luqman Hakim. Siapa tu?
Luqman Hakim.
Luqman Hakim. Just mention your name, first name, at least because I'm not sure. You say yes, doctor, ada 2 orang menjawab. Susah juga tu. Okay, Muhammad Omar Awad. Muhammad
Yes, doctor.
Awad. Omar Awad. Okay. Muhammad Afif Fahmi.
Doctor.
Afif Fahmi. Ada? Apa?
Huh?
Afif.
Saya Afif.
Afif
Ya, saya Afif.
Afiq Abu Bakar.
Ya, saya Afiq.
Afiq Abu Bakar.
Saya Afiq.
Afiq Muhammad Nur.
Saya Afiq.
Afiq. Yes, betul. Ada 2 Afiq. Nama bapa apa? Afiq Muhammad Nur.
Saya Afiq
Afiq Abu
Muhammad
Bakar.
Abu Bakar Muhammad Nur ada.
Ya, ya.
Ya.
Muhammad Aiman Omar. Muhammad Aiman Omar. Tak ada. Muhammad Aizat Syauqi. Muhammad Aizat Syauqi.
Ada. Saya Aizat.
Muhammad Amirul Hakim.
Amirul ada, doktor.
Ada. Muhammad Irsyad. Muhammad Irsyad. Irsyad.
Saya Dr. Irsyad.
Ada. Muhammad Malik. Tak ada. Muhammad Najatullah tak ada. Bukan tak ada ni. Dia, I think they are in the wrong section. This one is the latest attendance. A few student is in the wrong section. Means that they are in section 1 but their name is in my section. Muhammad Syamil Iman. Muhammad Syamil Iman.
Yes, Doctor.
Nawal Arifah.
Yes,
Nawal
doctor.
Arifah. Nur Amira Aina. Nur Amira Aina. Nur Amira tak ada.
Doktor ada.
Tak menjawab pun. Saya cakap kena jawab kan. Nur Safiras Ismail.
Aina, doktor. Yes, doktor.
Safira saya tadi.
Aina pun juga. Nur Amira Aina.
Alright. Nur Kalisa.
Safiras ada.
Ada.
Kalisa ada.
Nur Ya. Nur Kalisa ada. Nur Najah. Nur Najah ada. Nurul Syafiqah. Nurul Syafiqah
Ya, saya, doktor.
ada.
Ya, saya.
Okay. Pun
Yes,
Chen
doktor.
Wei. Alright.
doktor.
Okay. Sim Chong tak ada. Sibes Warren.
Ada,
Sibes
doktor.
Warren. Ada. Teng Zun Men.
Yes, doktor.
Alright. You dalam toilet ke bergema? Tay Ki En. Tay Ki En.
Yes, doktor. Yes,
Wong
doktor.
Ging.
I'm
Okay. Ada. Wong Ging In. Wong ada 3 ni. Wong Ging In. Ada. Wong Hao Yen.
Yes, doktor.
Wong Hao Yen
Yes.
Wong Wai Jian.
Yes, doktor.
Ada, okay. I ada 28 je. Ada nama yang I tak panggil. Means that when I was calling your name, you didn't answer. Okay, answer bukannya you masuk. You didn't reply. Or you just join. Anyone? Because in my list of attendance just now is 28. Tapi I think right now kita dah berapa? Right now we have 31. So should be ada 31 student. Siapa yang I tak panggil? Google?
Saya Dr. Abzatira.
Abza okay, Abza ada. Siapa lagi? Google Lamitiran ada. Khairul Fahmi.
Saya Ustaz.
Ada.
Saya.
Okay, Koh Zu Chuan. Koh Zu Chuan. Ada. Koh Zu Chuan. Muhammad Azam Anas. Azam Anas. Oh ada. Mic not functioning. Okay, Azam Anas. Tapi I dengar you menaip Muhammad Azam Anas. Muhammad Aiman bin Omar. Aiman? Aiman? Ada. Wong Ging Ing. Alright, 31 Okay, rasanya okay lah. It's according to what the attendance. Okay, let me see first. Okay, I'm going to just look at your feedback that you submit, especially on your the individual task, weekly individual task. Some week I give to you group task, some weeks I give to you individual task. And bear in mind, normally not only this semester because it's online. No, during the first class, normal class also, I always give student individual tasks and group tasks, but students are going to do it in the class directly. So that is the reason why you think that so many tasks. But I don't think so because the question that I give to you is similar that I gave to the previous student. Okay, means that the amount is similar. Every week I'm going to give the task. Reason why is to see if you understood about the class. Okay, so it's not because it's online then you get so many tasks. No, it's because of I need to see how much you understood about the class. Okay. So let's see on the feedback week 1. Week 1. Oh yeah, feedback. The one weekly feedback, you have the you need to fill in the online form, right? So for week 1, I think most of you 35 students submitted, so that's good. But in week 2, 30 students only submitted. Okay, let me just share the my content so that you can see who submitted and who did not submit. Okay, this is not to make other students who didn't submit feel bad, but to just show to the student that did not submit that your friend actually submitted. So why didn't you submit? Okay, so if you see here in week 2, yeah, in week 2, week 1 everybody submit. Okay, good. Week 2, okay, if you see here is that the one that I highlight the peach color is the one that did not submit. So Google, may I know why you didn't submit the feedback? Oh, tak datang lah. Haziq Imran, can you explain to me why you didn't submit? Haziq?
Yes, sir.
Kenapa you tak submit? This is normal, dalam kelas mesti akan tanya kenapa you tak datang last week. So why this one feedback is for attendance, so why didn't you submit? This is what student will get if we have a synchronous class. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. So why didn't you submit the feedback?
I forgot to submit.
No, you cannot forgot to submit because this is according to your schedule. So first warning. First warning. Okay. And the feedback will be taken as attendance. So more than 80, if less than 80% attendance, then I'm going to give out a warning letter officially from UTEM. So take it seriously. Okay. Even though it's online class, but student need to commit to submit it as a feedback. Mama Aiman, Momar, what's your reason? Aiman? Aiman datang tak? Okay, tak datang. Skip that. Muhammad Aizat Shauki? Aizat Shauki?
Doktor.
Okay, kenapa reason one? What's your reason?
I forgot about the feedback, Doktor.
What? Not clear.
I forgot about the feedback.
Apa dia? Tak dengar.
I forgot about it, Doktor.
Cuba you jangan cakap laju-laju, cakap slow-slow. Sebutan dia sebab maybe your internet is not clear. You jawab apa, Aizat?
I forgot about that.
You lupa makan tak? Tiap-tiap hari?
No.
Tak kan? So don't forget First warning
Okay. Sorry, Doktor.
Muhammad Irsyad. Semua ni nak bagi alasan lupa ke ni? Muhammad Irsyad.
I'm here, Doktor.
So what's your reason?
Saya tak perasan yang dekat bawah ada tulis feedback. Maaf.
Lupa atau tertinggal kalau you go through the unit. Reason why I put specific instruction in you learn like that by week. If not, I'm not going to be lazy and then don't put anything. So you need to know that you need to go to the feedback tab to do the you learn to do the feedback. So I do the instruction so please carefully, janganlah skip. Okay, how can you skip? Okay, bear in mind in final exam if you skip some instruction maybe you will lost marks because you forgot or to read or didn't saw the instruction. Okay, kosong sajalah. Okay, dia cakap tiada maaf bagi mula macam tu Alright, for the rest, okay, 5 students je tadi. Week 1 individual task, the one that submit 33, so ada 2 student yang tak submit. I just want to know why you didn't submit. Muhammad Afiq, Muhammad Nur. You didn't submit problem 1, the one that we are going to discuss today. So I'm going to ask you to answer lah. Because you didn't submit. Muhammad Afiq, Muhammad Nur.
Doktor.
So what's the reason not submitting? Because nanti dalam kejap lagi ni you kena jawab soalan Muhammad Afiq.
Yeah, because I was working on the weekend.
That's not the reason. Your class is not on weekend. You have class on weekday on Thursday and Friday. I read some of the student comment. You are working on weekend. The thing is, that's why when we have class 2 hours, please commit to finish that within 2 hours. Even though I give you a deadline 1 week, that's not the reason why you give to me because I'm working on weekend or weekday. Find a time to actually commit to it because you are doing full-time study. Betul Afiq?
Yes, Doktor.
Which
I'm
one
very
you
sorry,
full-time?
Doktor.
You full-time working ke you full-time study?
Full-time student kan? Full-time studies,
Full-time
Doktor.
study kan? Right. So priority first Priority. If you cannot actually manage your time for studying, then don't work. Okay, but if you have or need to work because, well, maybe you need to support your family and so on, it's okay with me, but kena bijak time management Okay, if you're working during the daytime, after midnight you do it, take 2 hours. This is what study is all about. Okay, I'm not talking about easy studying as mechatronics student and easy studying as during this pandemic. Okay, do you think studying is easy? Anyone? Not anyone. In the chat room, right there, do you think that studying is easy? Yes, no. In the chat, reply. No, yes. What do you think? For bachelor degree, do you think it's easy? No, it's hard. Okay, no, 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 no. Yes, okay. Most of you guys reply not easy. Let me tell you a story. Normally in class, if you have face-to-face class lah, I'm going to tell you a story about hardship. I can bebel dulu lah. Story about hardship. Because why? Because at least you would know that some people go through very hardship during study to actually get their certificate. Okay, let me take my example. I was doing my PhD in Japan, master and PhD 5 years. The hardship that I faced, one of it that I still can remember up until today was the Tohoku earthquake, 2011. I was in Japan that time, Tohoku earthquake. So I was in the lab, research lab in the 4th floor. And then it was, I still remember what time. It was on Friday, directly after Zoho. And it started shaking. And normally Japan, it's normal to have Jishin. Jishin is earthquake, It's normal to have a Jishin. And we actually have an app in our handphone. We install it. And it will directly give alarm to us if it's more than 4 Scala Richter. So what happened is that time, normally Jishin 3 Scala Richter is normal. We just laugh it out, laugh it off. But that time a Scala Richter was 6 in Tokyo. But of course in Tokyo was 11. So in Tokyo, if you have been to Japan, lots of high-rise building. So when we have lots of high-rise building, is that imagine that we have something like this. You have high-rise building. This is the lower ground, okay, and then this is highest ground. I'm in the middle. So if it starts shaking, what happened? The vibration starts shaking. The one is fixed is under here. So when it starts shaking, what happened? The topmost will be the one that have the most vibration compared to the lower part. So I was in the middle here. So it was actually, I was thinking of death at that time. Dah mengucap, kalau Islam kita jaga, kita dah mengucap semua lah. Reason why you might be laughing because mengucap semua kan. But no, the reason why, you imagine the wall, you can look at the wall, it's shaking very hard. And so many noises because of the window is shaking, rattling. So it's really, I cannot forget that moment because my sensei, he said don't run down the stairs because the stairs is the most fragile structure in a building because it's like that. So it's fragile. So you need to just stay put in the corridor. So we were just like staying put in the corridor. So it's really, that is my hardship during my PhD and master 5 years in Japan. And I was thinking of, I wouldn't see my family, okay, because I'm going to be dead under the building and so on and so forth. So that is how I feel that time. And then after that earthquake, luckily building didn't collapse, even though it was an old building. But it was just the starting of the hardship that I need to go through. Okay, at that time I was already 4 years in Japan. I have 1 more year to finish up everything experimental and thesis. So what happened was that directly after the Tohoku earthquake, what do you think happened? Anyone know what happened directly after Tohoku earthquake? Can you write down in the chat or you can reply in the mic? What happened directly after the Tohoku earthquake? Anyone in the chat? You don't know about the Tohoku earthquake? 2011, 9 years ago. Oh, maybe you are too small at that time. Well, after Tohoku earthquake, what happened is that we have the tsunami. Okay, the one near the Tohoku side, everything there is wiped off. Lots of people died. And then directly afterward, we have the nuclear power plant. Okay, the radiation. So it's like after one event and after one event. So the nuclear radiation is the one that actually impacted to the my stay in Japan, because when the nuclear impacted is radiation impacted is that water cannot be drink from the pipe. Means that pipe water cannot drink food, ration, and so on. So it's like during right now the pandemic, you see that suddenly during the pandemic everybody is buying, then the in the aisles no foods are there. So that is what happened in Japan last time. And water bottle, we can only buy 1 mineral water, 1.5 liter, 1 person only. So that is the only one that we can only buy for 1 person. Okay, drink, mandi tu tak payah cakap lah. I did not shower for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, But luckily that time it was winter. Almost it's between transition between winter to spring, so it's still cold, about roughly about 5 degrees and so on. So drink is worse, So ration, food ration, so on. So before, I was not thinking about research anymore. I was thinking about saving my life because of the radiation. So this is what hardship, tough of studying is all about. I mean, hardship of studying is all about. So if you think about here, you are in Malaysia. I'm not talking about other things. I'm just talking about earthquake right now. If I were to talk about how I went to the campus every day, I think you're going to open your eyes, How I went to the university from my house to the university is by cycling. I cycled every day from my house to the university about 7 km. I have a hybrid bike, between road bike and mountain bike. So 7 km cycling, 40 minutes. Okay, and you know, Japan, we have lots of hills. Okay, so 40 minutes cycling to the university and cycling back. Sometimes I'm not going back, I'm just sleeping in the lab, because it's too tiring to go back. And then the next day I'm going to go back again to the lab. So this is what we talk about hardship. Okay, some of you guys might be working right now. Okay, that is, I understood, is hardship of right now because of the COVID. Okay, but think that you do not have like earthquake with all of that. So think about that and study better. Make your time management better. Okay, so that one is about attendance. Make sure that you submit. And another student, siapa lagi seorang ni? Teng Zeng Moon. Why didn't you submit,
Yes, doctor, I'm here. Okay. Also time managing problem.
Alright, so
I'm
after
busy in
this,
weekend.
okay, weekend, I'm okay if you work, but finish it during class hour. You have to stay 8 to 10, and then you have Friday 1 hour. The task that I give to you is very simple actually, if you go through it. So I would expect everybody to actually manage your time. Okay, so that is one thing, right? Second thing is on the survey last week. So I not survey last week, survey yesterday survey. Okay, survey yesterday, I'm not going to, it's okay. I saw that lots of things that a student responded. I like to see respond from student about my teaching. Even though it's a bad response, is that negative comment, I don't like Dr. Mariam teaching and so on, because it's synchronized. Okay. I welcome the comment. Okay. Okay, but let's see. That one is example. You are not actually nobody said that. So anonymous. I don't know who's giving this. Okay. Respond. This one is about class content. Okay. Maybe if there's example and more video can be for okay. I will look into that. For now, I understand which topic we have learned, but I don't get 100%. Okay. Class easy to understand. Oh, before I go that, I want to show to you the percentage. Because I would prefer to look at how many students. Okay, academic background, most of you from matriculasi, and then STPM 6, diploma, no, diploma UTM here, ada diploma 5, others ni siapa Foundation okay, foundation. Alright, can you access you learn during teaching and learning? Okay, yes, semua boleh. Alright, good. Percentage access to internet during online. So, the most is 100%, 12 student, 75%, 14 student, 50%, 7 students. So, half lah. Okay. So, can I know, those who have access means that percentage 75 and 50%, what's the problem? May I know? Anyone? Just open your mic. May I know what's the problem with the internet? Is it that because of data is out, not many data? So, for example, like we have this synchronous class, you cannot follow because it's too much taking your data. Okay, because I understand that you don't have only my class, but you have other class. So I'm not going to take the data out of your info. So, may I know data why? Reason why? Sometimes there are network fluctuation. Okay, lagi? Dalam chat pun boleh. What else? Lambatlah reply kamu ni. Okay, 7, based on your learning curve, which delivery do you think is best for future development? Okay, synchronized live plus learning instruction. So most of you want a synchronized class macam sekarang ni lah, which is I will include some extra bebel lah. Okay, that's normal for synchronized class. And 8 student asynchronous class, which is directly, like for example last week class, I give you an instruction directly and then give you guided, go to look at this video and so on, blah blah blah, and then I give you a task. Okay, based on this slide, answer the problem. So that will be a synchronous class. Pre-recorded video YouTube. So pre-recorded is something that is basically exactly like what I'm going to do, like face-to-face class, but I will record it first and then upload it to YouTube, and you're going to view what I've talked about and then you answer it. So I would say like last semester, most of the time I'm doing the YouTube video. I actually pre-recorded all the chapters because it's subject signal system. So if I were to do the face-to-face class like this and then student come in and go out because of the signal failure, so it's not going to be effective. So that's why I did a pre-recorded video so that student can repeat the video many times. So maybe from what you have commented in the survey form, I'm going to try. I will do my best to do the pre-recorded video. The thing is that because I have the administration, so sometimes I cannot actually complete the pre-recorded earlier than what supposed class class schedule. So I will try. Okay. 8, if there was no COVID, okay, most of you say you want to have face-to-face class, face-to-face class are half, and half of you face-to-face class is synchronized. Okay. Do you understand? Okay, 100% understand it. 75% 16. 50% 9. Okay, boleh lah kan? Maknanya 50% boleh faham. Rating, this is average value 4.3. Okay lah. Okay, this one is the content of the class. So this is what your specific comment. So class is easy to understand. The class will be better with more explanation. Example, okay. At first, it's quite hard to understand. Furthermore, this is a new subject for us. After some practice, I understand a little. Right, simple word. Class is matter of subject is easy to understand. Class is a bit difficult to understand. This is contradict, Contents are clear and good. Class is a little bit to understand. Okay. Let me explain, Subject introduction to mechatronics. Some of you commented that, I don't understand the class, even though the lecturer gives to you the instruction, detailed instruction. It's like this. This subject introduction to mechatronics is actually the fundamental or basic subject to introduce you to the next subject. Example, if you see in this subject, we have the instrumentation and the measurement control block. Okay, measurement control block is on the sensor and transducer, and then you have the signal conditioning, okay, data presentation, and then you have the control board, the whole thing. So if you see here, it's actually for this subject, it's not going to be in deep detail about that, because this other subject, this other topic, you're going to learn in a different subject. For example, for the control block, you're going to learn it in control 1 and control 2. For the signal conditioning, you're going to learn it in signal and system, in communication system. So there are a lot of subjects after this which is related to this introduction to mechatronics. So this is the basic. That's why if you see, it's very general. Okay, so supposedly student can understand the subject. It's general. Okay, if you don't understand, then you need to play back many times the video, or you have problem understanding English. That's only the reason that I can understand lah. Okay, you do not understand the English language, means that you are not used to listening to YouTube video. Okay, you only, okay, I'm sorry to say that, but maybe student go and see the mukbang and so on lah, makan makanan banyak tu kan. But that's not good. Okay, it's good if you go to YouTube, go to look at technical engineering or engineering videos related to your study. That is how you study actually. Okay, so I will give you an example. I have a daughter. She's in degree right now. Okay, before was in diploma, now in degree. So she was not in background in taking science, taking chemistry and so on during SPM. But now she graduated diploma with point is 3.9. And how I or myself and my husband actually asked her to study is, go look, refer to lots of YouTube video, because nowadays 2020 is the time that lots of video related to engineering, you can find it in YouTube. Compared to my time, okay, we don't have this YouTube. Even line internet is like using the dial-up, okay? Thingy, connected loss and so on. So we don't have that YouTube. So we need to refer textbook. Textbook is what we referred to last time, my time. Okay? So you have YouTube. I would say that if student, you take the time to actually learn more about what you're taking a subject and find the keyword in YouTube, you can actually gain much more, understand about topic more other than listening to the lecturer. The lecturer is that to get the idea what the topic is about. And then you want to more understand more detail, you can go to YouTube. I'm not telling that YouTube is something that you need to refer to all the time, no, but it's something that helps to explain more about the topic. Example, application of control in process, in semiconductor process, the one that I share to you the link. Okay, because you can only look at these processes if you go to the industry. I bring students to go to visit industry, then you can only look at the process. That if the company let student go inside the plant. Some company do not let student go inside the plant. So I would say that this is very good, because in YouTube, there are some companies that actually uploaded the video of processes in semiconductor. Okay, so this is where you get directly the theory or background application on this topic. Okay? So I think okay lah, easy to understand. Okay, so far so good. Okay, alright. Okay, the class delivery by lecturer. Let's see. Everything is clear, blah blah blah. I love your passion. Oh, okay, thank you. I like when Dr. Mariam share YouTube video about what we have learned. Okay, that's good. Like what I told you, explain more specific on content, maybe some tips and really tutorial. Okay, so maybe I will add on some tutorials, but tutorials is something that you are going to actually answer. Oh, not I'm going to give you tutorial, because my style of tutorial is that, okay, I will inform in the ULearn, okay, student, go to tutorial 5 and answer question 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, and submit. That is how I do tutorial. Okay, I'm not going to teach you tutorial. No. The way I give tutorial is that you're going to answer. So exactly like what you're doing in a feedback. Okay. So this is how I give to student, or student need to learn. Okay, this like weekly assignment. Like I mentioned, if I didn't give you weekly assignment, do you think you can answer midterm and final exam? Cuba jawab in the chat. Do you think if I were not to give you a weekly assignment, okay, in the chat, please answer. Okay, can you answer midterm and final? I give you a hint, Normally, the weekly assignment is something that going to go out in the midterm or final exam. So if I were not to give you this weekly assignment, I would say that you can answer midterm and final. Okay, so bersyukurlah I give you that weekly assignment. Okay, if not, you can answer. I like how Dr. give comment about assignment, blah blah blah. Okay, thank you, Ryle. I will give comment right now. Also, sometimes I'm loading with lecturer set and cannot rewatch the meeting because it's not recorded. Okay, for example, like today synchronous class, I will upload it into YouTube. Okay, just that the previous recorded, I didn't upload it because I didn't have time to actually edit. Okay, you know, lecturer, we are teaching and also we are doing YouTuber why? Download, nak edit lagi, nak bagi cut off whatever that is not correct, okay, and so on. Right. Student communication with lecturer. Nice, easy, blah, blah. It's easy to communicate, but because of poor connection, oh, okay, alright, poor connection ni lah masalah dia. So I will going to upload that recording. Lies, didn't have problem. Okay, so far okay. Alright lah, so far. Okay, now punctual. Okay, nice, perfect. Punctual memang lah, punctual. Kalau ada cakap I tak punctual memang lah. Okay, oh, but I remember punctual, proper time. Unfortunately, cannot complete the task in time. When did I didn't finish my class on time? I think I actually finished class on time. Just thing is that student didn't attend the class on time. Okay, so this student, I don't know who, think back, or you didn't attend the class, okay, that's all. Alright, punctual, too strict. Okay, like I said just now, once you're working later on, you're not going to practice anymore. Your boss will scold you. Okay, show letter, show cause letter, why you come late. I'm going to be strict. Tu je, tegas. If not, you're not going to learn, Okay, and I actually being strict and being a role model to student, I come on time and student must come on time. I'm not just asking student come on time, but I'm coming late to class. No, you can ask your senior. I always class come on time 10 minutes earlier if it was face-to-face class, Okay, alright. Class management, everything is proper. Okay, so far what I read from the comment is that, okay, student asked to have the recording. Okay, I will do the recording, one thing. Second one is that on the tutorial, I will for each chapter, have a list of questions for tutorial and you're going to answer it. Okay, I'll give you in ULearn as some additional weekly tasks for you guys. Okay, that one is tutorial. And then what else? For synchronous class, I will try to do like this. Okay. For the Thursday class and Friday class, because most of the time I have the administration for handling webinar, so I'm going to do the asynchronous type class. Means that I'm going to give instruction in Udemy, but we are going to have 1 hour to 2 hours feedback on what you have done last week. So, like for example, for today, the feedback on last week task. Okay, so that we can actually recap. So you are going to discuss first about the class, do the submit first the task, and then 1 day to actually assess the feedback form or your comment on the task. My comment on the task, and I will try to do a pre-recorded video if we don't have synchronous class. Okay, so that is the second one. Okay, so I just want to ask student, can you see my screen? Okay, if you can see my screen, okay, if the comment here is because there are issues with student, you can access to hours directly because of your data. Okay, if synchronous class, if synchronized, sorry. Kejap. Synchronized class, Okay, if synchronous class was conducted for this subject, how many minutes to hour would you able to join? Student must act. So if, for example, like for today, okay, if I were to do synchronous class, student must actively participate in class. Means that you need to open your camera, you need to open your mic. Okay, that is what I expect because I'm bored actually talking to myself. Okay, so can you please go to menti.com? Okay, go to menti.com and insert the code 4714008. Okay, and then choose how many minutes that you can actually join synchronous class. For my class, bukan for other class, for my class. Okay, 30 minutes ke? 30 minutes saja tau. Lepas tu you punya data habis because you have other classes kan. 1 hour, 2 hours. Okay, I want to see the number. So do it now. Okay, one student, I need to see 32. 32. Cepat pergi menti.com. Senang je ni. Just choose saja mana satu. Jangan pula semua buat 2 hours. 2 hours, you think 2 hours you is full class termasuk I'm bebel sekali 2 hours ni. I would not prefer 2 hours class I would prefer paling top spend 1 hour. Okay, ini pun ada dalam left dah group. Syamil tadi left group. Left meeting, left group pula. Left meeting. Okay. 7 student, mana lagi? Mana yang lain? Yang 9? Lagi 21. Okay, 14 lagi. Lagi 17. Lagi 11. Okay, 10. Lagi 10. Mana yang lain ni? Lambatnya. Tidur lah ni. Sleeping, I think. That's the reason why I don't like synchronous class. You on your video, you're on your Webex, you join, and then pergi tidur. 8. Lagi 8. Lagi 8 mana? 7. lagi mana? Menti.com pergi menti.com. You don't need to install Menti, minta. Tak perlu. Just go to www.menti.com. Then you will ask for the code. Enter that code and then you will directly go to the question and then click on the question. Okay, very easy. This is what we call as participant, student participant in the class. 30. Two more. Kita ada total 32 student tadi, attendance. Kita ada total 32 students. One more? Ada lagi? Okay, so I think everybody dah already click on it. So we see here is that the majority 18 student 1 hour, at least 1 hour. So I think we will try to keep it 1 hour for synchronous class. And then we are also, in addition to that, I will do a pre-recorded class. It means that based on my slide, I'm going to do the pre-recorded class. So hopefully that this is okay with you guys. Okay, so that is okay. Thank you for participating. So let's see week 4. So we go to week 4. Where was the task? Okay, this one, individual task. Of course, for the 2 students who didn't submit, you still can try submit. I still open it. You can submit it by Thursday. Okay. So the question is, what was the question? Question dia slide 12 kan? Okay. Let's see slide 12. Okay, this one. Okay, so for last week is that you learn about chapter 3, which is on signal conditioning. So this is an example of problem that we are going to discuss. Okay, so problem. So nampak? Okay, problem 1 is we have figure 1 shows an electromagnetic radiation sensor. Okay, so we have this electromagnetic sensor here on top of it. So this one, the whole thing here. Okay, so it's on a mobile robot. So this is a mobile robot down here. Okay, so if you see here is that we have the component of actuator, we have the component of controller, and we have the control of measurement. Okay, but the question is here is on the signal conditioning. Okay, the sensor works by converting electromagnetic wave to electrical signal. Okay, alright, that is the fundamental definition of sensor. The sensor is used for detecting signal in kilohertz and above filter. The analog signal is received is very weak, so means that the analog signal received by this sensor is very weak. So which one? So means that you need to have an amplifier to amplify the signal. Okay, and suffer from power noise cable. So first is that, okay, so from here is that you have seen there are 4 main keywords or 3 main keywords here. First one is that it's going to convert from electromagnetic wave to electrical signal. Sensor is detecting signal in kilohertz and above range. The analog signal is weak and have noise. Okay, so the question here is that explain 5 different functions of signal conditioning. So you have gone through the ULEARN instruction. So how many function of signal conditioning did you learn? Okay, can you write in the chat how many signal conditioning did you learn? Write there in the chat. Ah, 5. No, not 5. 5 is the one question here. Question 5 is the one that I asked here. The one that you go through in the ULEARN. How many? 7? What else? Are you sure 7? Cepat, yang lain mana? 8. Okay, ni main teka-teka je ke? 8, 8, 8, 8. Okay. 8. So, semua 8 tak pasti copy paste ke tak. Anyway, let's look. So, let's look at your ULearn. Okay, ULearn here. So, we have here on the video of protection, 1. AC-DC converter, 2. PWM, 3. Amplifier, so both of these, we can actually conclude it. Amplifiers is we have on inverting, non-inverting, summing amplifier and differential amplifier. So, 4. Okay. 7. Number 5, we have filtering. Okay. 6, we have multiplexer. 8, we have DEX, DAQ. Okay, so yes, good. Total is 8. So we have 8 component of the function of signal conditioning. Okay, so bear in mind that is the 8. So in this question is that it's been 5 different function of signal conditioning. So you can pick out of 8, 5. You can explain this. Okay. So question number 2 is discuss the signal conditioning requirement and the outline solution to input the signal from electromagnetic sensor to a computer. Okay, so the first one, oh sorry, I actually want student to actually answer this. So 5 different function of signal conditioning. Okay, I'm going to do the wheel of name, okay, and call out one student at a time. So I have 5 student, so let's start. Dalini. Oh, okay. Okay, Dalini.
Yeah, madam.
Alright, Dalini. Okay, so explain, take one function of signal conditioning and explain it.
Filtering, madam.
Okay.
Filtering only include the valid data and block the noise.
Can you elaborate on that? If it was in final exam, then I think out of 5 marks, you get 1 marks only.
The filter can make from the either passive and active component or digit, and it will filter the unused data and the noise.
Okay. How many filters are there?
How many?
What type of filter do you have? You have the low pass filter. What else?
Wait. Wait. Okay.
For the other student, please listen. Ni you tak kena tak apa, tapi ada lagi 4 orang. Ada how many types of filter you have? You ada low pass filter? You ada apa lagi?
High pass filter, low pass filter, band pass, and band reject.
Okay, so ada 4 So,
Yes.
okay, that is, okay, good. Okay, boleh explain. Okay, next student. Kita ada lagi 4. Okay, Nurul Syafiqah. Nurul Syafiqah.
Yes, saya.
Alright, pick one function of signal conditioning and explain it, elaborate it. Buatlah dalam 3-4, 3 to 4 sentences.
Function is amplifier. Amplifier
Okay.
is to getting the level of the signal accurate lah. Macam example millivolt to volt. And
Okay.
dekat amplifier ni two type. First is inverting amplifier and non-inverting amplifier.
Okay.
Inverting amplifier ni dia punya inverting input is negative sign
Okay.
that connect to Vin. And the positive sign is connect to ground.
Okay. Right.
And then non-inverting amplifier, inverting input is negative sign, connect to the ground. And then it positive sign connect to Vin.
Okay. Alright. You ada two only. Inverting amplifier dengan non-inverting amplifier, right? So I think you have two more, right?
Two more. Summing amplifier and differential amplifier.
Okay. Boleh explain that?
Yeah.
Dalam nota saya tu ada sikit salah tau kalau perasan.
Dekat summing amplifier ni. Summing amplifier ni amplifier the apa? Kayak apa? Macam mana?
Macam mana tu? Summing amplifier?
Summing amplifier ni mana? To amplify to input voltage.
To input voltage. Okay. And then
the differential amplifier ni to amplify the differences between two input voltage.
tu bukan definition yang sama ke?
Lain. Nah, dia punya ni. Dia punya equation yang lain. Equation dia lain.
Okay, make sure you understand the equation. If you go through the textbook, okay, remember, do not always refer to only my notes. You need to find out the textbook. The main textbook that I have shared to you in the YouLearn. So, kalau boleh, there is actually online textbook, the soft copy form. Alright, thank you, Syafiqah. So, next.
Okay.
Siapa tu? Muhammad Amirul Hakim. Amirul Hakim? Amirul Hakim
saya
ada?
doktor.
Alright. Pick one.
Ada doktor.
Pick one and explain.
Sekejap doktor.
Amirul?
Ya doktor. Saya pilih linearizing.
Linearizer?
Linearizing.
Linearizer tak ada dalam yang main ni. You tengok
Tak
mana
ada.
ni? You go through tak saya punya lesson 4.2 ni? Linearizer tak ada dalam ni.
Analog digital converter dan digital analog converter.
Okay, ADC dengan DAC. Okay, boleh? Cuba explain.
Analog digital converter ni dia convert the information from analog to digital. Contoh dia light, temperature, time variation using sample and hold circuit.
Okay, sample and hold, okay.
Kalau DA converter, dia convert digital to analog. Dia accept digital information and transform it into analog voltage. Dia guna macam daripada binary number, dia tukar pada analog signal. Contoh binary number ni yang 01. tukar kepada digit.
Alright. Okay. Explanation is good. Explanation is good, but it's not in English lah. So hopefully practice English lagi because why reason we have foreign student in our class, and one thing is that in your exam you need to write in English. Okay, thank you Amirul. Alright, next lagi dua.
Okay, welcome.
Amirul lagi. Sekejap. Okay, next. Okay, Afza ada tak? Afza? Internet ni ada masalah ke? Kita apa, skip lah. Muhammad Irshad.
Yes, doctor.
Alright, choose one and explain. Explain mana? This task actually is very simple if you did do the feedback form. So because in the feedback form, I asked to elaborate using your own word. Okay? So, siapa tadi? Irshad?
Protection, doctor.
Okay, protection. Right?
So the main use of this protection is to prevent any damage in the circuit.
Okay.
But if there is some fuse or current short, so they will the protection will limit the current
Okay. So
to avoid any damage.
Alright. In the video that I shared to you, what type of protection they are used? What type of component they are used for the protection of the circuit?
Over voltage protection circuit.
Using what type of diode?
Zener diode.
The diode. Okay, alright. So I know that you go through the video. Alright, thank you. Last. Muhammad Afif Fahmi.
Yes, betul.
Okay, Afif. Choose one.
Choose the PWM.
Okay, PWM, boleh? Alright, explain.
This is the modulation technique used to encode a message into pulsing signal. Example, low level DC signal. OM will use to amplify the signal. It used to
what?
Amplify.
Betul ke tu?
Signal.
Cuba baca lagi. You tengok mana ni? You tengok nota saya ke? You tengok mana?
Tengok nota dekat dalam lecture ni apa? Lecture note yang dalam Yulen.
Lecture note dia.
Ya.
Okay, kalau if I were to read what is the pathway is something that okay, macam yang tadi siapa Irshad Afif. Okay,
Yeah.
what I've mentioned just now, it is about to amplify the power because it's very low. So you're going to use the PWM to actually trigger the signal. Okay, so
Yeah.
signal, for example, PWM, the most common that people use PWM is in the mobile robot. Okay, dia guna PWM untuk increase or reduce the speed of the motor. So using PWM, you are going to use the pulse width modulation, is that giving a signal. So if it's high frequency signal, PWM, then the motor will actually rotate much more higher speed. Okay, and vice versa. Alright,
Okay.
Afif, alright. So
Yeah.
let's go to the second question, the B question. Okay, discuss the signal conditioning. Okay, discuss the signal conditioning required and the outline of the solution to input signal from the electromagnetic sensor to a computer. So, based on this question just now, okay, we are going to discuss the signal conditioning requirement. So, what was the requirement? Kenapa ada lagu Siapa yang on lagu tu boleh bingitkan ya? Okay, so there are four main things, okay, that you can see here for the signal requirement. First one is that you have the explosive detection applications, means that it's highly explosive. So it means that what type of signal conditioning do you need there? Okay, that was one thing. Second one is that the sensor used for detecting signal in kilohertz or above range. So what type of signal conditioning? So just now your friend actually explained it. So second one. Third one, the analog signal received is very weak and suffer from power cable noise. So what you should add for the signal conditioning? So third. Fourth one is that the signal need to be this input signal from the electromagnetic sensor need to be sent to a computer. Okay, so 4 types of signal conditioning that is required for the system. Right? So it require for the first one is that if you see here the first one require protection. Okay. Second one require filtering because you have the kilohertz and above range, so you have to have the filtering. Third one is that you need to, because the signal is very weak and suffer from power cable noise. So it means that you also, for power cable noise, then you need to have the filtering, and because the signal is very weak, then you need to have the amplification. Okay, and fourth one is that because the signal need to be read by a computer, so you need to have the analog to digital converter. Okay, so 4 main things that need required. Okay, so if I would explain it, what you should submit in your problem 1 task was this. So you need to have the protection to prevent damage, example fuse or current emitter. Second one is that you need to have the A to D and D to A converter. So because you need to have the signal, analog signal into the right type of signal, means that from analog to digital and digital to analog. Third one is that you need to have the amplifiers because the signal is very small, meaning for example, so you need to get the correct signal in voltage, so amplify it. It's either you need to use the non-inverting amplifier or the inverting amplifier. So non-inverting amplifier is one that the gain is positive and inverting amplifier is the gain is negative. Fourth one is that you need to have filtering because just now it says that you have a lot of noise in the cable. And fifth one is that signal manipulation. For example, if it was the signal is non-linear, then you need to linearize the signal. But for the case of this maybe no need, not required. So how you go through all of this is that this one is just goodness, like salah. Sorry. Solution is here. Okay, solution yang ni. Okay, 5 solutions. So you need to have protection, amplification, noise reduction, signal manipulation, and conversion. Okay. So the first one is that for this case is that sorry, yang ni itu tadi A, yang ni B. Okay, so the signal is weak, have noise, signal is analog, and computer need to receive it in digital signal. So because of this, you need to have all these 4 requirements. Okay. So outline solution is something that you need to draw the block diagram from open loop to closed loop. I saw some of you guys, okay, very good. You able to actually draw out the block diagram, okay, and explain it. Okay, that's very good. So you explain more than what I supposed to do, what you are supposed to do. So outline means that draw out the block. So you have the sensor just now which has all these requirement or problem, okay? And then towards the end is that you have the computer. So later on in chapter 5, you're going to learn, chapter 4, you are going to learn about the data presentation. Data presentation, one example is the monitor of used for the computer. So monitor is a data presentation. So how you are going to actually display the sensor reading onto a data presentation here. So what you need is, first you need to have the Xeno diode, first protection, protect the computer or whatsoever. Then you need to amplify it. You add the non-inverting op-amp. So non-inverting op-amp is the one that have positive connected to positive gain, not the negative. Then you are going to filter out because the noise is at 50 hertz and above. Okay, just now 2 kilohertz and above. So you are going to use the high pass filter. And because of you are going to read from the analogs, here is the analog and here is digital. So you need to have the A to D converter or ADC converter, analog to digital converter. So this is how you explain the solution for exercise this problem. And of course, if this was example of a midterm or final exam, you need to elaborate more. This one is just the drawing or the block diagram. You need to write out the sentences explaining each of these parts. Means that why you need protection and so on. Okay, the third one is that, okay, the question was, design a circuit to amplify the output signal 1000 times, means that the gain is 1000 times the original value. So if you went through the my notes on the non-inverting op-amp amplifier, okay, you can see that you have the non-inverting amplifier where the negative value is actually grounded, okay, so meaning that you can actually calculate the value. So assuming that V in, okay, let's say that you have V in equal to 1 volt. You want to achieve 1000 volt because you see here is that you want to amplify the output 1000 times. Means that this is the gain. So gain is what? Gain is V out over V in. Okay, this is the equation. Okay, so V out over V in, so just V out over V in, so you get 1000. And according to the non-inverting amplifier is that this is the equation R1 plus R2. This one is using the voltage divider. Okay, so you will get 1 plus R2 plus R1. So assuming that here is that, because they say here is that design a circuit to amplify. So you need to give the value for R1 and R2. So draw out this non-inverting amplifier. Calculate what is R1, R2. So you can just write here, this is V in 1 volt, 1000 volt. Okay, and R1, R2. So example. So let's see here is that we have here V out or V in. Okay, V is V in. So you have 1000 divide by 1. So you have 1 plus R2 minus R1, right? So let's say that assuming that we have R1 here is equivalent to 10 ohm. Okay, so find R2. So find this R2. So just use this equation, substitute R1 10 ohm. So you in the end you will get R2 apa? Calculate now. What is R2? What is R2? Apa dia R2 eh? You have here 1 plus R2 minus 10. So R2 you get 99999. So you get 9.99 kilo ohm. Okay, so just write here 9, or you can write 9.9 kilo ohm. Okay, so this is how to answer question C, which is design a circuit to amplify. Alright, thank you. So so B, for online class, you already did it yesterday. So who didn't it? I think 2 students who didn't did it. So you can just I will share this in the link in the comment. Siapa yang tak buat lagi, ada 2 orang tu, you can just go to this feedback and then fill it that in. Okay. Let me see. Okay, any question? Any question? Okay, let me just explain a bit about this one. Why signal? I think you have gone through this. No. So why signal conditioner are applied when signal are too small, okay, and need to be amplified. Content interference, which is noise. Okay, so you need to have amplifier. When we have noise, you need to have filtering. When the system is non-linear or need to be linearized, so you need to have a linearizer. In analog form and digital signal, so you need to have the ADC or DAC. So if you have a resistance change to change in the current changes, so you need to have the width bridge lah. So the width bridge, you have learned it in the circuit 1 and circuit 2 or circuit 2. And voltage change to be changed into suitable current change, so you have the Kirchhoff law and Ohm's law. So this is where you have the voltage divider and so on. So this is all we call as the signal conditioning. So what you have learned in circuit 1, circuit 2 is actually a part of signal conditioning, but you didn't apply it yet to signal conditioning. Okay, so example of this one. Okay, example, you have the signal conditioning part. Okay, you have the transducer, or like what I have explained. Transducer is actually the sensor. Okay, so you have the sensor. Okay, and then next, always together with the sensor, you have the signal processor, or we call it as the signal conditioning. And then we have the recorder, or we call it as the data presentation. So data presentation is the one that you're going to learn in chapter 4. Okay, so the main point that we are going to focus here is this part on the signal processor, or we call it as signal conditioning. Okay, so you have the amplifier, you have the A to B, you have the D to A, you have the filtering and so on. So if for example, let's say I take this example. Okay, this is example of a final year project student done by my previous past year student. Okay, very simple, but they have lots of experiment that need to do. But the setup is like this. Okay, you have the Arduino. Arduino is connected to motor driver. And then the motor driver is connected to the port of the motor. So you have motor 1 and motor 2. Okay, so motor 1 is to control the left DC motor, and motor 2 is for the right DC motor. Then you have the power supply, and then you have the sensor line following sensor. You have 3 sensors. Okay, so if you remember in week 3 exercise, the one that I asked students about the mobile robot, where you should put the sensor. Okay, is it put on have students submitted that? Not yet, so I cannot discuss that yet. Okay, so anyway, if you see here for the signal condition, is that port is something that you have the input output device connected to the microprocessor. So always you need to have a microprocessor when we talk about signal conditioning, because that is where you can only convert from analog to digital. So that is where from the motor here, signal, signal from the motor is going to go into the motor driver port. So motor driver port is something in digital, and from the signal from the motor is analog. So here you already know that you need to have a analog to digital converter. So that's why you have the motor driver here. Okay, and then interface is something that you connect it to the device and port. So example, interfacing here is example of the wire. Okay, so example output from sensor to controller, you have the controller A to DC. To small voltage, for example, from the signal here, normally it's very small signal, millivolt. So you're going to have the amplification. And because of some signal, it's too noisy. So you may need to add some additional circuit here. Okay, additional circuit here, connect the xenon diode for protection, or you can add the amplifier, non-inverting amplifier onto this circuit. Okay, so this is why you need to have the circuit that you solder and everything. Okay, and then example from output from controller to the actuator is something that actuator require analog signal. So this signal, even though the signal can go from the motor to the signal processor, so it also can go out, give signal so that the motor can actually rotate. So this is where you have that digital to analog converter. So send from digital from your Arduino, we call it as the digital, send it out to the analog, which is to the motor. And to small signal voltage, for example, this case we amplify it so that the motor can actually rotate, because too small voltage in millivolt, the motor cannot rotate. It doesn't detect any signal. Okay, because normally DC motor is the voltage that you can receive is 0 to 15 volt. Okay, so if it's only 110 millivolt, it cannot read, and so therefore the motor cannot rotate. Okay. Okay, so I think that is all. This for signal conditioning, it's not much. At least if you can understand the concept of why you need this signal conditioning, and it will actually link together with the sensor. Okay, you need to have signal conditioning together with a sensor. You cannot actually buy a sensor and then just connect it to Arduino, but you do not actually convert it from digital to analog, you do not add filter, or you do not amplify the signal, then you cannot actually look at the output. And for example, if you do not have a display, you do not have the display, the graph, and so on, so you do not know what is the output of the motor rotation and so on. Okay, you can only see the rotation of the motor, but what angle, what degree of the angle is it rotating? So that is why it's important that you need to have data presentation also in the measurement block diagram. Okay, so basically what you have learned up until last week, which is today, is on the measurement system. Okay, because we have completed the sensor. Okay, then you completed the signal conditioning. Of course, this signal conditioning is linked also with the actuator. Actuator also need to have the signal conditioning. Okay, because for reason why? Remember, last 2 weeks I explained you have from the control architecture from the PC is digital. So you need to convert it to the actuator. It's only read in analog. So you have the D to A. At least minimum is D to A for the actuator. Okay, and for the motor, DC motor, normally you need to have the PWM, pulse width modulation. So you can just Google, check PWM using motor for motor, DC motor, and you can actually listen to the explanation. Okay, and from here is that because this is analog, it's going to read the analog signal, so that's why the sensor is reading analog, and because this signal is need to read and be sent back to the computer, so you need to convert it to digital. So you need to have analog to digital. So this is where you have the analog to digital. Here you need to have the digital to analog converter. Okay, so you have completed this one. Next chapter is that you're going to learn about additional one more thing is the display with data presentation. Okay, this is also very quick. Not much. You are going to learn about the 7 display unit and so on, graph, oscilloscope and so on. Okay, and then we go to the actuator. Actuator, a lot of topic that we are going to cover on the hydraulic, pneumatic, electrical and mechanical actuator. So this is more, I would say more interesting. Okay, so just follow my class, okay, and you will find out that by towards the end of this subject, you have an idea. If you plan to compete in a competition, mobile robot competition or fly following competition, you already know what type of sensor you need to use, what type of amplifier you want to use, what type of driver you need to use, or if the signal is too noisy, you need to add a filter rack and so on. So this is where introduction to mechatronics explain the basic fundamental concept, okay, or concept that you need to have in a system, mechatronic system. Okay, I think that will be all for today. Any question? Any question? Ada apa-apa soalan? Kalau tak ada, okay, no question. So no question, is already 9:45. So this Thursday, as mentioned, I cannot have a synchronous class because I am moderator. I think I shared to you in the Telegram. I'm moderator for this Thursday and Friday. Unfortunately, it's always during my class. So and the moderator is from 8 until 12 or 1. So basically, it's I cannot actually do class on Thursday and Friday. Okay, but I will give the instruction for this week for chapter 4 on data presentation in ULearn. So please do it, and hopefully we can try to do a 1 hour comment on the feedback for this week. For on Monday, means that every Monday morning we have 1 hour to actually do the replacement for the face-to-face class. Okay, so 1 hour, and I wish to actually discuss also about the assignment. Because I think you have one assignment still pending. You need to submit, which is on the chapter 2. Chapter this one, chapter individual tasks. Yeah, this one. You still have individual tasks, which is exercise 1, okay, individual tasks, and group tasks, which is exercise 2 and 3. I think it's on the mobile robot. 2 and 3. Sekejap, kita tengok. Oh, 2 and 3 is this one. 2 is about the types of sensor, displacement sensor, position sensor. And then 3 is on the mechatronic project design. So this one, okay, let me just okay, because last time I didn't manage to show to you the video. So for this line task, even though you have submitted, but it's okay. If you want to improve it, you can improve it. Okay, task 1 is on the straight line pattern and curve line pattern. Okay, so okay, this one is a straight line pattern. So you can see that the robot can actually manage to move very fast forward motion. And when it's a curved line also, it able to actually follow the line. Okay, which is, this is really important. Okay, so it still managed to follow the line. Okay, next is on the navigation. Navigation of mobile robot based on trajectory. So you want the robot to move from this point to this point. Okay, a square trajectory. Need S-shape trajectory. So it's going to go do a S-shape. Go here and here. Triangular shape. So triangular shape is a bit difficult because you have so many lines. So how to actually make sure it's going to follow the triangular shape line? This one, okay. Okay, this one, experiment 3, is the one that you need to add the location of sensor on the mobile robot. So the first one is that a planned path without obstacle, actual path with one obstacle, and third one is with 2 obstacles. So let's see the video. So this is without obstacle. So robot is just going to move here and then until here, it will stop. Okay, second one is with one obstacle. So it's going to avoid this. Okay. And this is with 2 obstacles. Okay, you can see that the robot tried to actually enter the second lane, but after it detects the obstacle, it actually proceed to turn right and find the correct path. So the question was, okay, this one I already showed you. Okay, candidate for obstacle avoidance. So what type of candidate do you think you should use? Position sensor or proximity sensor? And you need to explain why. Okay, for line following, what candidate do you think is useful? Okay, so line following is that how can it follow the line, the black line? Okay, so based on the task is that you need to explain best which sensor that you best use and explain reason why. Okay, how many sensors do you think for each one of these? For proximity sensor, how many sensors do you think required for this obstacle avoidance? If you think it's one only, so where should you put the sensor? At the front, at the back, at the side, left or right? Okay, so that one is what you should discuss with your group. Okay, so based on question 1 here, this one, assign the best location. So if you say that you need to use two sensors, so where should you mount it? So this is where you need to draw the front view, side view, and top view to support your answer. So this task look like, oh, why Dr. Mara is giving so many tasks like this? Reason why I'm giving you this task, because midterm or final exam will be similar like this. Student need to think, okay, what type of sensor is going to be useful for that system, specific system. Of course, you're not going to get the same question. We have so many sets of questions later on. So what type of sensor best use for this sensor, and so on, where you should put it, and so on. So right now, it looks a lot to do, but this is a group work. Later, when you go for midterm and final exam, it's going to be individual. So right now is where you need to practice as a group. Okay, brainstorming. Okay. Alright, so I think for individual task 13 students saja baru submit. For group assignment, tak ada yang submit lagi. Okay, nobody submitted yet. No group already submitted. No group submitted. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Any question? And oh yeah, and I noticed in the feedback, the one that I gave to you the link yesterday in the Microsoft form. Okay, some student, one student commented about forum. Need to have a forum in ULearn. Okay, I will open the forum in ULearn. Okay, meaning that you want the forum, I can open it. No problem. I can open one forum weekly. Okay, not in the weekly. So I will open the forum under maybe another tab or under assessment here. Okay, I will open one forum. Turn on editing. Okay, I will add one forum. Okay, I'm going to do it now. Forum. Okay, this forum. Okay, forum name is if student have any questions regarding weekly topic, you may write questions here. Right? So I think you should be able to look. There's a forum, okay, under assessment. Click on assessment, and you see that there's a forum. If student have any question regarding weekly topic, you may write your question here. Just click there. Okay, add a discussion, then write out. Okay, question, for example, topic chapter 3, example lah. Then ask blah 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 blah. Okay, ask your question and then post to forum. Okay, so I will know, oh okay, yeah, there's somebody asking about discussion on topic chapter 3, and then I will reply there. Okay, okay, any question? Any more question? In the chat, any more questions? Kalau tak ada question, just reply there no. If you have question, you can ask it now. Okay. No, okay, we already 9:57. Nanti ada pula yang complain. I don't finish class on time. Okay, so I think that will be all. Thank you very much. So anything I will upload in ULearn. If, for example, for the pre-recorded class for this week chapter, maybe on Thursday I cannot manage to do it on time before class. So bear with me. I will, once I have uploaded in YouTube, because I need to edit and upload to YouTube, then I will inform in ULearn that the pre-recorded class is uploaded to ULearn. Okay, so bear with me, and of course, if I upload it late, then I will give ample deadline for you to submit your weekly feedback. Okay, don't worry. Okay, anyway, I think just look back at for this subject, you have the midterm, I think will be in week 7 or week 8 like that, and it will be comprised of adjective question and subjective question. Okay, so that will be all. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye.